Today we're talking about the ATN ThOR-HD. The ThOR-HD is a weapon-mounted rifle scope, quite similar to the X-Sight 2, where it's a digital scope with a Picatinny mount, but a little different in that it has a germanium front lens, which allows it to be used for thermal imaging purposes. Almost all the controls are going to be nearly identical to the X-Sight 2, where you have the objective focus, you have a diopter, and you have all your electronic controls on top with your battery storage and your SD card storage off to the side. The ThOR-HD comes in two different sensor resolutions. It has the 640 by 480, which is the higher resolution sensor, and it has the 384 by 288 sensor, which is a little bit lower resolution. With the higher resolution sensor, you can get away with a larger magnification range because as you dial up to those higher magnifications, the resolution's gonna hold better and you're not gonna get as grainy or as pixelated of a picture. With that lower resolution sensor, you do have a couple different options for your magnification range. Your models are going to be a 1.25 to 5x, a 2 to 8x, a 4.5 to 18x, and a 9 to 36x. That is digital zoom, but it does have a continuous zoom, so it's not going to step up in multiples. You do get that full range of zoom. So if you're looking to do any long range shooting or you want to zoom in closer on your target, you may be better off going with that higher resolution sensor because you're not going to get the same performance or the same magnification abilities out of the lower sensor unit.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the Vortex Viper PST Gen 2 5 to 25 by 50 rifle scope. This is a second focal plane scope with an MOA reticle. They also sell it in first focal plane with both MOA and mil-dot reticles, but you want to kind of figure exactly what's going to fit your needs the best. Because for me, long range shooting, I decided to go with a second focal plane reticle due to the fact that it does not enlarge as I go through my magnification range. So the reticle looks exactly the same on 5 power as it does on 25 power. So if you're shooting longer ranges, that means that the amount of coverage that you're going to have on your target is going to be exactly the same all the way through your magnification range, where in first focal plane, as you adjust your magnification higher and higher, the reticle actually gets bigger and bigger inside your viewing window, and that can cover up more of the target at longer ranges. So you kind of have to balance whether or not you want a first or second focal plane depending on exactly what you're going to be using it for. Very fine precision shots, you might want to consider second focal plane. And then if you want to be able to see the reticle a little bit larger as you're stretching it out, then you might want to go with first focal plane. Now, this does have an illuminated reticle. It's very nice, it's very bright, it's got several different settings with an off setting in between each setting. So you don't have to bring it all the way back to 0 and then adjust to your magnification range. You can be in setting 9 and then go in between 9 and 8, and it's going to be off, and then go down to 8, and it's going to be on again. And so that's nice. But keep in mind that batteries in optics like this do not last very long. As a matter of fact, I actually left this on by accident for like 2 days, and by the time I grabbed the rifle, it was already dead. Granted, it was probably on the highest setting at that point, but keep some extra batteries around in case you want to, switch that out and use that. This also has a really nice parallax adjustment. Goes all the way from 25 yards all the way out to infinity. So it's set up really nice.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the Vortex Diamondback Tactical. Now this optic is very popular. It came out just about a year and a bit ago. Now it's very popular for a very good reason. It's a very affordable, high quality first focal plane optic, which is what the market has been demanding for years. Now this one, the MSRP is about $500, but you can find it as low as about $350 US if it's really on sale. Usually it's around $400. This optic has ED glass, which is probably one of the best features on it. So ED glass, a glass etched reticle, with the EBR2C reticle. It's got a very long eye relief. I mean, this has 3.9 inches of eye relief, which we're going to get to in just a moment. Now, this optic can really deliver some really sharp, some really crisp images. We're definitely going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Out here at the range today to bring you a review on the Vortex Viper HSLR. One of the things that I love about this particular scope is it blends key features across the spectrum of hunting, long-range shooting, and shooting in general. Some of the things that I love about this scope and that make it a great crossover from a long-range scope to a hunting scope, more elevation adjustment than I could ever need. I mean, I'd ever take a shot at 1,000 yards on an elk or a deer, but knowing that I've practiced at 1,000 with this scope, I can dial my elevation, and I have capped windage on this side. I can dial those things in and practice all day long at those extreme ranges. That just makes the hunting situation all that much more of a slam dunk. When I get a 300-400 yard shot in the field, I have the confidence to make that clean kill. You can see I've got my dope chart here for this particular rifle taped to the stock. I can pick my yardage on my dope chart after I get a range, and I can dial my turret if I need to. For example, the bull elk I killed last year, he was stepped out in a spot where I had plenty of time to get a yardage, reference my chart, and dial the exact yardage for a very, very precise bullet placement on that bull. The nice thing about this particular scope is the crossover, because I've got the chart that corresponds with the turret, but I've also got the BDC dead hold reticle in the scope. In more hurried situations where that bull may not stand there very long, I have time to get a range, get in the gun and make the shot. I have corresponding hash marks, and that's a really, really nice feature of the scope.
This device right here has changed the way that I think about rifle optics. This is the ATN X-Sight 4K Pro. It is a completely electronic scope with integrated 4K sensor, onboard video recording. It's got ballistics built in. It can interface with your mobile device with dual stream video to show you exactly what's happening if you're spotting a shooter using this scope. This thing is crazy. Now, why was I interested in getting this scope? I do a lot of storytelling where I need to capture my shooting, whether it be shooting for groups at 100 yards or shooting steel at 400, 600, or 1,000 yards. I do a lot of hunting. We're talking about big game, coyote, rock chalks, and a bunch of other stuff. For me to be able to capture all of this with the recoil activated video, I don't even have to think about pressing record and stop. This is a total game changer for me. A future story. Again, the sunshade is a great addition that's included, and the scope rings.